Hey everybody, welcome back to Electric Cafe. Today's album review is on B Movie's 1985 album, Forever Running. This is the single, Nowhere Girl. Actually, the single was made in 1981/82. The single was actually 82, and it looks like they finally put the song on a full album in 1985. So um, there's 9 tracks on this album, and it does feel like when you listen to the music, it does feel like the songs are from different periods. They're probably done, over the course of 4, 5, 6 years being together, because they do sound as, you know, probably like they're from written from a couple years difference, and there's a lot of differences between the tracks in a lot of ways, and in some ways the album gets better as it goes on towards from the start to the end. It gets better. So I'm not sure if certain songs were done at certain periods earlier in their career versus later, or which that is. But it does feel like feels like they're figuring out their sound on this album, and they're sort of finding their sound. It feels like that, and then also it sort of feels like that as the album goes on as well. The lead singer has a good voice. He reminds me of Information Society's lead singer a little bit. It's a bit dramatic, but it's he's good on the high end. Um, the band's pretty solid. Nothing really sticks out a lot, but the bass line does stick out a lot because they do have a little bit of funkiness on their synth pop. Drummer's pretty good. Guitar player, pretty standard. Nothing like screams, jumps out at you, or um, they don't really. They're pretty straightforward pop. There's really not too much. I would say "Nowhere Girl" is probably everybody's heard of that song, but that's probably the most wide ranging or dramatic, or at least um, kind of non synth pop sounding song. Just a little bit different. They're all pretty much synth pop. I guess maybe if I was to compare them to a band, I don't know. It's just really, I don't know why I want to compare them to Scritti Politti, but I don't think it's like that. Maybe it's sort of like Haircut 100, but a little bit more synth pop. You know, I don't know if it'd be like what's his name? Was it Nick Kershaw, or not Nick Kershaw? Nick Haywood. Nick Haywood from Haircut 100. Maybe it sounds like them a little bit. You know, there's some opportunities with the mix, though. The quality of the music, not the music, but just actually the recording and the mixing of the album. The mix is really loud on this, to the point where there's a lot going on certain songs, and it really, it gives you an earache. Like, I was listening to them at a relatively low volume, and it was still just really kind of loud. There's also the snare, which is in most songs, is really bad and really loud as well. So there's some really opportunities with the sound of the album. There's a lot of saxophone in the album, and I'm not a huge saxophone album. I don't know if there's anybody out there that says, yeah, there's a lot of saxophone on the album, but it's the '80s, and he plays the saxophone well, but it's still a sax. Like of all the solos you could do, like keyboards and guitars and stuff, you're like, I don't know if people really want to hear like a sax solo. Like, I'm glad that kind of left itself in the '80s. Like, nobody really wants to hear a sax solo anymore. I feel like they would have been a little bit more successful if they had a little bit of a darker sound. The lead singer has a haircut like David Gahan does in 1985, where it's kind of like Shake the Disease, but not all blonde, but just the tips are frosted, sort of, and he has that look with the tail. He sort of has that look here as well. So I feel like they if they weren't so jovial and happy and stuff like they are in their videos, I would think that they would probably be a little more successful if they were a little more well balanced. Maybe some darker stuff would be cool. um, The lyrics are a little bit strange. I noticed that too, and not sure if it's in a good way or a bad way. There's one song that I quoted um, in track 8, Arctic Summer. He says, "Like malaria, she flows through me." Strange. So track number 1, Forever Running, is my least favorite on the album. 3.25 stars. Heart of Gold is better, 2.5 stars. I like the beat and the melody, funky bass line, a lot more sax. My Ship of Dreams, 1.5 stars. Just an Echo, 2.75 stars. Best song yet. Moody, this one actually is moody, nice atmosphere, keyboards are nice. Um, Remembrance Day, 3 stars. Most complete track yet. And really, the album gets better as it goes on, for the most part. That's, Switch On, Switch Off, which was a single, 2.25 stars. Another cohesive track, but the chorus just kind of kills this one for me. It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of repetitive and kind of, I don't know, not that great. Blind Allegiance. And then actually, the next 3 tracks are my 3 favorite on the album. Blind Allegiance, 3.25 stars. Nice groove. Best one so far. Verses are good. Chorus is okay. The rest is really good. The last minute is really nice instrumental. Arctic Summer, despite the weird lyrics, I also got that one 3.25 stars. The best synth sounds in here. It is a little bit eerie on this one. Darker. More dramatic. Piano's nice as well. 3.25 stars. And then my favorite song on the album is Nowhere Girl. And obviously it's the classic, but this isn't the ideal version. They updated this version. The 1982 version I'd probably give it a 4.25 stars. This version I gave it 3.5 stars. It's still the best song on here, I feel like, but it's not a good version of it. It's too polished. It lost the vibe. The older equipment sounded better that they probably recorded it on. And they even added a sort of epic kind of last part guitar at the end that just sort of like, oh, we got to make this track newer. Everybody's kind of all heard it. Okay, let's add a kind of a guitar on the end and turn it into like a rock song. I don't know, but it's not. This version is so much better than the 1985 version. But I still give it 3.5 stars. It's still a good track. Just it's hard to say it's my favorite, considering it's not the better track, but I still give it 3.5 stars. It still is a good track. It's just got some sort of weird choices on trying to update it. But a good album overall. 22.75 stars divided by 9 is a 2.52. So I felt pretty confident giving it a 60 out of 100. I think it's on the very low side of being a good album. I can say it's a good album. And I'm glad to have heard it because, I think Blind Allegiance, Arctic Summer, and Remembrance Day are songs that I'll go back to and play. The rest of the album is okay and good, but I'm glad that I found three good tracks on that, and that's all I can really hope for. I don't expect to pick an album out that's 43 years old and be like, oh, I've never heard this, and then be blown away by it. I'm sure I would have heard it and probably listened to it by now, at least something off it. So I knew Nowhere Girl off this, but they're still fairly underground. Not too many people know the band name, let alone know the album. But I think it's a good album. It's if you like synth pop in the '80s, and they do have a little bit more than just this keyboard band. Like they're actual, all of them are instruments, and all of them play instruments and do a fairly good job at it. Nothing. I think the recording isn't that great, and maybe some choices on sounds were probably a mistake, like the snare's too loud. But that could be an engineering thing, because it's strange that they have a drummer in the video, but I don't know the band that well. But they have a drummer in the video for Switch On, Switch Off. But the snare is so loud, like it almost sounds like almost sounds like a drum machine on the album. So I don't know if it's I didn't pay attention too much. I mean, it was hard to tell. It's hard to tell, like, on sometimes if if part of it was a beat machine, and then or maybe some songs it's a beat machine, and some songs it's a drummer, but that snare is awful, and it's loud. It's like it like snaps your ears like just like a whip. It's really bad. Um, and again, the saxophones don't help too. They don't necessarily hurt it, but you know what I mean. Like I don't want to hear saxophone in my synth pop. You know, I don't want to hear it. Anyways, that's my review for B Movie's album Forever Running. Good album though, 60 out of 100. All right, thanks for listening.